My name is Erick Brethenoux. I cover AI techniques, decision intelligence, and artificial intelligence for Gartner. I live in Chicago, where I cover all those techniques. This session is about the future of data science and machine learning, which are one of the most important applied AI techniques these days for businesses around the world, regardless of the industry, and where if you have not started, you should be starting very soon because time is running out. One of the big trends these days for machine learning and data science is coming from the fact that we are moving from machine learning platforms that used to be the standard for the last few years into something now that's much more oriented toward an ecosystem. So there's the people that have to take most of what they've been discovering so far from a platform perspective and look at an ecosystem that's much more varied and different from what we used to have before. In addition to that, one of the trends attached to that one is what we call machine learning operationalization, which is the MLOps movement. So it's one thing to develop models. It's another one to implement those models into businesses and make sure they are delivering business value. One of the last trends that I would mention is the move from a data-centricity aspect of the business to a decision-centric centricity of the business. So we are focusing on outcomes now more and more. So data science teams that have been paid very highly so far are now asked, how much value are you delivering? And can you prove that you deliver that value? Those are one of the main trends. There are others, but those three dominate a large number of questions that I'm getting from clients on a regular basis. So I think generative AI is not what has bring the democratization of AI. What has bring the democratization of machine learning has been Coursera and Udemy and the availability of data science classes online. That's what provided the democratization. Yes, you can do code and provide code with generative AI today, and it will probably open up new opportunities from some of those teams. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned in one of the trends, the operationalization of machine learning models is not something that generative AI will do. It is something that data scientists, ML engineers, and software engineers will do. So that democratization exists because it provides business value, not because of these new tools that may provide some productivity gain, no doubt, but are not going to go further in the democratization that's already happening in the market. And the interesting thing about skills is the fact that organizations already have those skills inside their organizations. All they need is to discover them. So we've done many surveys at Gartner that are showing that, contrary to common belief, the skills of AI and machine learning are not scarce. They are just there to be developed. So a lot of my clients, for example, upskill those people and find a way to be able to provide, again, via online courses, a way for them to become more proficient. But those skills and competencies are already there. So yes, university programs and some other programs and certifications have provided more skills, more availability into the marketplace. And the democratization that we talked about before has also permitted to have better skills in the market and competencies. But the fact remains that most of that competency is already within organizations. It needs to be uncovered. And this is what I think it's. So the skills are already there. It's not a matter of lack of skills at this point in time. And that is one of the last 5 years have brought a lot to the market. The ability to understand in the data preparation phase also if there is bias in the data. Because after all, the data is a reflection of people's decisions before the data got to the analysis of those models. So there are tools to be able to look into the fact that those data or those data sets can be unbiased or could be also prepared in certain fashion. Then once the model has been created, we have new roles within the organization for people that are looking for those models, validating or being able to look also around what are they creating from and what are the impact on the marketplace. So there are tools to be able to look into how we make sure that those data that comes into those models is unbiased. Then there is a security piece. And we have actually a framework within Gartner to estimate to which extent that data is secure and how can you make sure that once you build the model, people cannot reverse engineer the data that you use to be able to do that. There's also micro or nano encryption capabilities that allows you to actually encrypt the data at such a fine level that ultimately you cannot really decipher what has been used to be able to create those models. And finally, the intimacy and the legal part is also very important. Not all data can be used to build models. So you need to make sure from a legal perspective that you also have an available framework that is available to you to be able to understand what is the data that you can use for that. All of this is part of the framework that we built again to make sure that you can actually use the data safely, legally, and securely to be able to build your models. So we talked about the fact that we move from model centricity to data centricity. I believe that we are already moving to decision centricity. So that's a big shift, because what it means is that before you even start building a model, you need to understand what are the outcomes that are going to be enabled for that model. So that means you need to understand the key performance indicators or KPIs that are going to be able to be used to evaluate those models and their business impact. You need to move to decision centricity for that. The other aspect of the future of those techniques come from the fact that machine learning is only one set of AI techniques. You're going to need other techniques in addition to machine learning to be able to make that distinction. So people use rule-based systems, for example, to apply compliance in addition to machine learning techniques to unveil correlation and patterns. People add knowledge graph techniques to understand causality analysis and dependency analysis that machine learning techniques are incapable of looking at on their own. So you add those techniques. It's not instead of, it's in addition to. And then you also have all the techniques that we have seen appearing in the marketplace to boost part of these models as they are being put in production, like first principle AI models and things like that. So I think there's going to be a composite AI trend and movement to make those models a lot better and easier to solve business problems. I think those are the main trends these days that are already practical and used by some of our clients to be able to build those models in the future.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.